Hey everybody, how's everybody doing? I hope everyone's doing well on another lockdown day as the days continue to be locked down. I think you're going to be locked down forever, except for us essential workers who will continue to work forever. So thanks for coming on. I think we're at episode 79. So thanks for everyone watching. I saw Bass jumped on. Diesel was in here, Tim, Eddie, DeReal. Alban, thanks for Shinobi. Thanks for joining. Redneck was in here early on Brooklyn Cord Cutters. So a lot of the MS7 group. Michael, again, he jumps on all the time, watching all the time. Kevin, thanks for you guys watching. Thanks for everyone going on here, watching our show. Today, we're going to talk about Auto-Widgets, and we lost DrInfernoo. He'll be back in a minute. So we're going to talk about Auto-Widgets today. We're also going to talk about Shadow. Okay, you're back. Yeah. So we're going to talk about the Auto-Widgets today, the updates. We're also going to talk about Shadow and a lot of the updates for that. We'll talk about some other stuff going on. So how's everybody doing? Blue, I'll start with you. Ladies first. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm been good. Watching movies, working, same old stuff. Not watching the movies I'm supposed to be watching, but watching movies.
Yeah, and look at I did my homework. I've already been one show into for our pop player pass. I'm already one show done, which is Higher Learning, which I watched today. So I'm okay with that, folks. Next Wednesday, 5 o'clock, so same time, just a different day on Wednesday. Player pass, the first full episode is going to be on. So watch that. Be sure to watch Higher Learning and Jojo Rabbit before the show, because we're going to talk in depth about that. And just as an FYI, and I will talk about it when it comes time, we will give spoilers. We will talk all about these movies. We will talk in depth about them. So if you've not watched them, we may spoil it for you. So you've been warned. So yeah, so you got so babe, you got what, 5 days?
I'm on it.
To do your homework. Okay.
I'm a crammer. I'll be doing it probably last night.
Yeah, Wednesday afternoon she's doing it. So yeah, good. All right. What about you, Mr. DrInfernoo? Thanks for jumping on here. How are you doing during all of this craziness?
Not too bad. I've been furloughed for the last few weeks, so I haven't been doing much of anything except playing on my laptop. But no, yeah, everything's pretty good. Watching TV, watching movies, working on stuff. Just hanging out.
Good. I see that I saw Robert Plant. Renee says she's a registered nurse for Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. Everyone has the coronavirus, even the registered nurse crew, which, to be honest, Blue and I were talking about this today. They've already started to work on, or they already have the antibody test that will show you if you've had the virus. And that's going to be really, I think that's going to be where a lot of states and companies and such will be able to test. And you'll know, I think it said 10 or 15 minutes with a little bit of blood, you will know
nice.
if you have the antibodies for it.
I hadn't seen that come out yet.
Yeah,
that's awesome. First step in getting oh my god, my brain just a vaccine.
There is a couple that I saw in the news this morning that they were pretty close. That one that they were using for that other deadly virus that didn't work, not SARS, but it was that one of those viruses they had in Africa.
Ebola.
I think that was what it was, and it did not work for that, but it worked.
The malaria one.
Yeah, but it's working malaria. It's working pretty decent in some trials, but it's not definite. They're telling you that this is not a guarantee, and they've just
the thing that's sad about that is about trying all these different things is it's got to be mass tested, because you could say half the people were cured and half the people died from it.
Yeah, it was a one.
But is it that's killing them, or is it that they just weren't going to die from the coronavirus, and they did die from the coronavirus? Like, I don't know. It's a tough one. Yeah.
I think that when I saw it on Good More America, they were saying it was like a 1% mortality rate for the people that were taking that. But they said you really can't do a case study unless you have a placebo and somebody on the real medicine. Then you have you can judge because then someone's on a placebo and someone's really on the meds. So there, it's still working out. But I know that I heard on ESPN that the Major League Baseball was going to be the first to do mass testing of anybody that's on the teams, as well as office staff and owners, this and that. And they said that they thought that was going to be a really good idea because that would give a very good cross section of the country, as well as Canada, for all baseball teams across, so that they'll be able to know, because some people may have had it and never knew they had it. So that's their thought, is that they'll get at least there'll be a sample size of how well it works or how many people actually have it. So they're close to this. And I know that there's states, and I know New York City or New York State said that that was a real big thing, that he wanted that to be tested so they knew who could go back to work.
Yeah. Seems like everybody's trying to go back to work.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think people need to go back to work, in my opinion. People need to go back to work. I've been working the whole time, so they need to take their asses back to work. Let me have a month off.
Yeah, I'm getting tired of this.
Yeah, I'll take a month of sitting home. Chip, man, thanks for jumping on the show. Again, I said Robert Plant. Patty, thanks for watching Gold Rush. He's always watching us. So Tony Parker, thanks for watching. Eddie, thanks for watching. So I'll go through the news of the things, some of the new things that happened that I've noticed over the last few days in the Kodi verse or Kodi universe, whatever you want to call it, that you may have heard about and may wonder what this means. Okay, one of the things that came out today is Real-Debrid says they will no longer support RapidGator. Okay, so RapidGator is a hosting site where movies, TV shows, videos can be uploaded to their servers, and those films or movies could be accessed from websites or Real-Debrid, Premiumize, All-Debrids. So you were able to use those videos that were on that hosting site. But no longer will RapidGator allow Real-Debrid. And I thought Premiumize was on that list of that Premiumize could use RapidGator, but they can't. So Real-Debrid dropped support for RapidGator because they can't, from what I read through the lines, they can't afford the licensing or to pay for the permissions that RapidGator wants. Because in one of the things, if you follow Real-Debrid, they will tell you the cost. And off the top of my head, I want to say, what did they say that if you paid
I don't
for
remember the numbers, but that was okay. Sorry, I don't know how that. They seem pretty beat up over whatever's going on.
Well, it's showing here that RapidGator, if you want a RapidGator account, is $15 a month.
Yeah,
that's limited. It says limited to 33 gigs a day, 1 terabyte a month. And Real-Debrid saying, hey, we've been giving you access to that, and now we can't afford it, is my gist of it. And anybody that follows Real-Debrid, they are not always the PC, warm and fuzzy, in the public realm when they talk to people. They're pretty much... boom, this is our answer. We may not talk and give you an answer for months and months. And then when they give an answer, sometimes it can be a little
abrupt.
A good way of putting it. I was
abrasive.
Yeah, they can be a little bit. So if you follow them on Twitter, and you can follow them, and they'll say they've been getting some flack from people about the dropping of RapidGator support, which was nice. But is it the end of the world? No, it's not the end of the world. For me, RapidGator worked when I was trying to watch a pay-per-view event the day after. So let's say a UFC fight was on Saturday night. I didn't watch it for whatever reason. Sunday morning, I want to watch it. I would go to RapidGator. I could get the link, put it in Real-Debrid, and I showed that one of my videos. And then boom, I had it, and then I could pull it up on Real-Debrid mod or something like that, and I could watch it on my TV. I didn't have to worry about some add-on having to have it. That was a benefit. So I can see where that would kind of cramp me a little bit, but it is what it is. So So
Yeah.
with you guys, what do you guys have anything before we move from RapidGator? What's your thoughts on RapidGator?
I was gonna say, I think Premiumized lost RapidGator a while ago. I'm not sure how long, but they haven't had them for a little bit now.
Well, I looked on the website. Auto-Widget still offers RapidGator.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay.
According to the website, I went there today because someone was talking in our group asking about it, and Auto-Widget still says they support it.
Sounds right. They tend to do a lot of hoster stuff like that.
Yeah.
RD and Real-Debrid both are pretty good for hosters. I could see Real-Debrid keeping RapidGator like that.
Yeah. Well, and Auto-Widget to me for cache torrents is not as good.
Yeah.
Real-Debrid and Premiumize are better for cached torrents. Auto-Widget, even though you can get it on Auto-Widget, you got to wait for it. It's the library amongst Real-Debrid and Premiumized is for cache torrents is very vast.
Yeah.
Auto-Widget is smaller, and then if you go to Link Snappy, when we talked about Link Snappy, they're even smaller. Even though you can do it, but you got to wait for it to download. So
I didn't even realize Link Snappy was still around.
Yeah.
I heard about him, but I haven't really heard much.
Yeah. Well, I had one of the guys that was I had Twilight was on the show a couple times, and he created the plugin for Resolve URL to
cool
access Link Snappy.
Gotcha.
And he gave away a bunch of 30-day vouchers to all kinds of people watching the show, and it was good. But it just they don't cache as much, and it was expensive. It wasn't cheap.
A lot of the biggest part of that is kind of like a network effect. You know, they're a smaller service, not as many people, you know, subscribe to them, so their cache is a lot smaller.
Yeah, there's not enough people asking for it.
Yeah, exactly. Like RD and PM, they both have just tons and tons of users putting stuff up all the time. So their torrent cache is just enormous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I will say, I bought Premiumize last week when they had their special. That was a 2-year special for $99, whatever it was. I went ahead and bought it, and even though I have RD and I gave it a backup, but I will say for a personal experience, I've been an RD guy for years, like probably 5+ years. All right, so I used RD for multiple things. TV shows, movies, whatever files. I downloaded now, and I've talked about that Raspberry Pi images. So I used in the past my 256, my 128 gig images. I would use Real-Debrid and have them download it, and then I would download it from Real-Debrid, and it would be quicker. I wouldn't have to wait for a torrent. I did that with the 400 gig image from Virtual Man. And I had error after error after error trying to, once I downloaded it, it would either crash downloading or it would not extract. So there was some type of issue on the upload. I uploaded it to Premiumize and downloaded it fine without a problem. So
yeah, their downloader seems a little bit more robust.
It does seem faster because I downloaded 400 gigs pretty quick.
Like I've noticed a lot of the time if I put a torrent in my RD account, it'll like take forever or just not ever finish, even if it's got seeds. You know, sometimes they just stall from RD, and I don't know why. But PM, I don't really ever seem to have to worry about that. I'll throw something in there and come back, and it's done. Just like that.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I was looking.
Stuff never disappears out of PM's cache either. So I've got movies in my cache that my kid watches that I had to like go and find. So I've just left them in my cloud forever.
Yeah, because you get a terabyte of space.
Yeah, and you can actually buy more space.
Yes.
RD, you have a limit on space, and they start taking stuff away after a certain point. Like stuff expires.
Yes. Supposedly, from when I read through the forums, and because they're very vague again in the forums. It's somewhere in the neighborhood of 14 to 21 days. If something is not accessed within that 14 to 21 days, it is purged from the system.
Yeah, I've always heard 2 weeks. So yeah, that sounds about right.
But Premiumize, yes, if it's on your cloud space, it sits there until you lose your account or whatever you do. So
yeah.
Hey, I see Black Sales posted PlayStation is giving away free games to those that own a PlayStation 4. 4 games, Uncharted trilogy. And I will say, and I think they started this last week because I sent a message to my son that I saw there was 2 games, and I want to say Uncharted was one of them, that there was a couple games that were free to download. And I told them, I said, hey, you might want to check these out. So if you have a PlayStation 4 and you're into different games, you may want to take a look at the PlayStation. They have some free games. There's nothing wrong with getting some free games if you have the storage, the space for it. Let's see. Paul, thanks for joining the show there. Funster, Matrix. See a bunch of people roll up in here. So I see Redneck says he loves premiumize. And again, you have to figure out what works for you. You decide what system works for you.
Yeah, I have them both. I usually keep them both active.
Yeah. And I've talked about that. It's always good to have a backup. I used RD for so long because it was inexpensive. I mean,
and there have been times where, RD gives me trouble and PM comes through, or there's been times when one is not working and the other one's working or whatever. I've had trouble with both services independently this week, just with the internet has been so underperforming. They've both had their ups and downs.
Yes.
Yeah.
RD has been overwhelmed. And they've posted that numerous times. They've been buying servers all over the place. And so, again, I take it all with a grain of salt, and I also think about what I've invested in RD as in a monthly, let's say a monthly fee, compared to other things, and will I accept sometimes them to fall a little bit short when I'm paying $3 a month? Of course, they're going to fall a little bit short at times, and $3 a month. So, I mean, you can't expect perfect for $3 a month. So they have been running short, but also it's known that you've got so many people home. So many people are using the services. So you take, just like if everybody needed gas at the same time, just think about your small town and everybody wants gas at the same time. You're going to have a line sitting at the gas station. And guess what? Some of those gas stations are going to run out of gas because they did not expect that many people to come through at the same time. These services are the same way. They have bought servers, bandwidth to handle a certain traffic speed or traffic amount. And if you increase that 20, 30 or whatever percent, that's hard to change it on the fly. So I don't know. I'm pretty understanding about it. One thing, Michael, and I posted this, Matrix is correct. And when I talked about that, if you go back to my Virtual Man show where I had Virtual Man on here, and images for the Raspberry Pi, you can download an image. It's basically, it's a build for your Raspberry Pi, set up with the emulators, the ROMs, the fan art, the intros, everything. It's a plug and play. You put that little thing on your SD card, stick it in your Raspberry Pi. You're emulating, and whatever size, depending on the size of your card, is what image you need to get. So if you have a 64 gig card, then you go look at some of the 64 gig images. If you have a 256 gig card, you take a look at some of the 256 gig images. Put that image on your card, you put it in there, and it runs because it's the OS, it's everything. And you can have multiple. One of the things I was talking to Kyle, you can have multiple cards. I have probably 6 micro USB cards with different images on it. And you turn off your Raspberry Pi, you pull out the little micro SD card, and whatever is on the new SD card, you could have Kodi on one card that's what's it? LibreElect. You could have LibreElect on a card set up for your streaming. Take that out and then have your Raspberry Pi or your Retro on another card. Stick that in, boot it up, and it, because there's no real hard drive. The SD card is the hard drive. So that's what an image is. So for people that know the image, that's what an image is. I saw to just try to explain that before we go. Let's see. Peter says, lately RD has been giving me uncached torrents. Why? You might want to check your resolve URL settings or whatever add-on you're using. It may be unchecked now. That's what I would think. Because sometimes on updates, sometimes that will be unchecked. So just go into your settings for that or whatever add-on you're using and make sure that cached only is checked. I have a random Kodi question. What add-on has the updated TV shows next aired add-on, not the official?
Not sure. I bet I can figure it out.
Next aired. See, I don't know. I don't use that because I don't even know when things show up.
Right.
I never watch anything even close to like current. Even Walking Dead, I guess that was the closest thing that I would watch. Somewhat close.
Give me a
I'd watch it
second.
on
I'm going to
Monday.
see what I can figure out.
Okay.
Well, you can move on.
Yeah. PM is the dog's nuts. Been using them for 6 months now. That's what Shinobi says. Excellent for Gaia tool. And it is. It's a great service. It is more expensive than Real-Debrid. So just keep that in mind. You got to figure out what works for your budget. Maybe you can't afford premiumize, so you need to go with Real-Debrid or something else. So they all have their pluses and minuses. You can't say that, oh, this one's good and this one's terrible. The give and take. There's give and take to each one of them, and you got to decide what fits your needs. Let's see. Brown Walker says, interesting. I will try out my Raspberry Pi 3 tonight. Hey, Brown Walker, I would suggest if you have a Raspberry Pi 3, a small image, and Virtual Man just uploaded a 64 gig image. He just updated it and put it out. You might have a 64 gig or 128 gig card around your place. If you download that image, put it on the card, you'll be, if you have a gamepad, you can be playing, and it's plug and play. Other than the only thing you got to do when you get one of these things, folks, is set up your buttons. And what I mean by that is, hold on. And what I mean by that, so I'm looking at, I have a cheap little wired controller. You can use a PlayStation 4, you can play an Xbox, whatever you want. And I think PlayStation 3 also. So you will hold down on the button, and it will bring up a menu saying you're trying to configure this controller to your Raspberry Pi, and you'll say yes, and you'll hit yes, and it'll say push up, push down, push left, push this, hit the left stick, the right stick, A, B, C, or A, B, X, Y, left trigger, right trigger. You go through each button, and you just, the screen asks you what it's looking for, and you push it. When you get done, the only thing is it'll say at the very end, it's hotkey. I usually use the select button as my hotkey as well as my select, and you'll hit it, and it'll choose it as your hotkey. Then hit enter or X for me, and you're done. And the controller set. And doesn't get any easier than that. You're playing whatever's on that image, and I'm an old school gamer, so I love it. Let's see.
Well, I found an updated version of this, but I don't know what repo it's on. There's an updated version on Marcel's repo
Of
that TV show next aired, but I'm not sure that that's the one that guy's looking for.
Well, I think he's looking for, you know how some add-ons have it built in.
Yeah. Well, there is an next aired add-on. I mean,
okay, but I know that I think well, okay, so there is an you can download that, but I can't remember which one of the add-ons where I've seen that as on the menu of TV.
I know next aired pretty much only works with library stuff, so it works for some people and not others.
All right, so can't help you.
Yeah.
Russell here, I guess he was talking
about.
I think he's talking about this one, about an IPTV service. You just download and install on my device.
Yeah. They have an APK.
Yeah. If they do it, I do, and I hope to have Antenna Man on my show in the next few weeks, and hopefully when he comes on, he'll be able to talk about antennas. And if you guys are cord cutters and you want to know about antennas, this guy knows everything about antennas. So,
you're talking about images for that Raspberry Pi.
Yeah.
Just real quick, have you ever done it with the Internet Archive ROM add-on?
I tried.
Okay.
Early on when 18 first came out, and it's that I want to say a guy's name. He had a
It's Zach
repo.
Morris.
Zach.
Yeah.
It was. It worked. Some games worked. Some didn't.
I've had it set up. The emulators built in Kodi in 18 are a little lackluster. So the way I've had it set up is with separate emulators that it opens up.
Okay.
It's a good way to go. It's a little bit slower than like your image on a card because just like library stuff, that's all loaded in and ready to go. But it's a good way to get like, I mean, it's got everything. Because he's basically just pulling a list of ROMs from online that's like every single game you could ever play.
But the ROMs actually are stored on the Internet Archive.
Yeah, so
and you play them through that. You really don't download it. You're almost caching the ROM.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, so it downloads the file. It's not a torrent. It's just a download down to you. And then it sits in a folder, and like as you play different games, it starts to recycle out that space, so you're not ever like filling up your whole hard drive with games.
Right, and my understanding when 18 was first coming out, they were talking about that, and they were trying to work around copyright issues, and they were saying that basically we're not allowing people to download it and store it. It is in a cached type of file, so they were. That was how Kodi was dancing around because that's official. That's semi-official Kodi stuff. I mean, so that is a great way of doing it. Since we're talking about ROMs and stuff, there was another bit of information or things that happened this week for us people that are cord cutters and stuff. If you are a gamer and you've used LaunchBox, many of your PC guys know what LaunchBox is. Mm-hmm. LaunchBox is the Cadillac of front end loaders for gaming for your PC. It is a Cadillac. It has bells and whistles out the yin yang. It is super, super cool. All right. So LaunchBox was they were for PC, and I think they went maybe Linux. They were on two different platforms, but they went to Android. And now they have suspended support of Android. Oh, they were offering $5 for lifetime for you to have it on Android. And what they said was, due to Android's restrictions and the Google Play's difficulties to staying in their store and Google not allowing. All right, so let me stop for a second here. So LaunchBox is a front loader. So it's an application that you see. It's your eye candy. So when you open it up, it's your eye candy. It's your games. It's all this pretty stuff you see. And say you want to play a game. I want to play Mario, or I'm not going to say Mario because I get in trouble for Nintendo. So let's say I want to play some old Atari game. So I see it on the screen. I want to play an old Atari game. I click that I want to play it. So LaunchBox or your front end loader will go to an emulator that is a backend, which is actually what runs the game. It goes in there, loads it. RetroArch is your biggest emulator out there. It's the most popular. It's the most extensive. It's almost like it links into that. RetroArch plays it.
Yep.
But what you see is the front end face of it. So you don't see that back end part. So Android is going to implement a security feature to where one app cannot access another app. So a front-end loader wanting to play a Atari game cannot tell another game, play this ROM. So this is going to be a restriction on, I want to say Android 11, I think is what they were saying. It will not allow it. So what the issue is LaunchBox says that's going to be too much problems because we create the front end. We don't create the back end.
Right.
And we're not going to be able to access that back end emulator. It won't work. So they said that's another reason why we're going to stop. And they also said that they're not going to spend all their money that they get off of LaunchBox because LaunchBox costs money for even if you're on PC or or Android. They're not going to spend all their money fixing it if it's all going to go towards Android. So expect that to be, if you're going to want to do gaming, LaunchBox for the Android. If you're going to do gaming on your Android device, LaunchBox will not be a viable option. RetroX will work, and actually RetroX 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, added Dreamcast, more Dreamcast games. Now, he did have Dreamcast emulation, but it was very limited. But he offered more now. So you get, I've tested games, and the games I've tested, it's 50-50. 50% of the games will work in RetroX, and 50 games don't. Now, if you use Redream as an APK, you can get APK and install it and play it for free for certain limitations. Pay $4 and then you get it unlocked. Redream played about 90% of my Dreamcast games. You decide what works for you, what's important, what's not important to you. But if you're going to Android game, because you don't want to spend for a Raspberry Pi, if you have a Shield, crappy Android boxes may or may not work, folks. But if you have a good Android box, all the way up to PSP for Shield, PSP does okay.
So
Dreamcast.
You're able to do Dreamcast pretty good on Shield?
Yeah, I was playing 18-wheeler. I
haven't tried it. I kind of expected it wouldn't go that well.
Yeah, Redream played better than RetroX. RetroX played some games, and he's still tweaking it, because the thing about RetroX, the emulator is built into it's not a front loader and a back loader.
They're like ported.
He brings it into the code into RetroX, so that RetroX is running it. So he has to decide which emulators to bring into his program.
Right.
So that has, again, pluses and minuses. You got to decide what works for you. RetroX works for so many other systems, though, and it's plug and play for most games, other than setting up your controller. It just struggles once you start to get Dreamcast was that where it started to kind of struggle. PSP did okay. Redream did better, but Redream is only Dreamcast.
Right.
So if you want to just do Dreamcast games, Redream works. But if you're wanting to have a full-fledged emulator system, RetroX gives you, Atari 2600, 5200.
Yeah.
Everything. So you decide what works for you. I mean, the only other extra news I have this week, before we get into actually talking to Dr. DrInfernoo about his update, was Spank Bank. For the folks that follow Spank Bank, if you guys are a follower of some of Carl's add-ons, Spank Bank repo is back up. So enough said there. If you know what his repo is and you know what was in his repo, the 2 add-ons that was in that repo are now working. Excuse me, they have been updated. So that is to help some of the adults in the room. Okay, let me glance through the questions real quick. Make sure we don't have them before we roll into you, bud.
What happened to Blue? It dipped.
She said, yeah, she jumped off right now. She's got something going on.
Yeah, no worries, all good.
Yeah. She. Plus she doesn't game, so.
Oh yeah.
She's like, gaming. You guys are talking about gaming. All right, so let's see. Linda talking about RD blocks everyone that has questions. Yeah, I mean, RD is difficult to deal with in a social network as well as their forums.
Yeah,
they're a redneck. Real-Debrid's customer service can be very rude. They can be, and I think Dr. DrInfernoo said very abrupt.
Yeah,
that's a nice way of putting it. And so you decide what's going to work. Retro Junkie says, really like Redream. It's cheap. It's $5 to unlock it. 5 saves. Yeah. And again, it was $5 and then you're able to do it in 4K, which I mess with it in 4K, but I don't know if it was actually that good in 4K because I played with it just for a little while. One good thing about if you paid for RetroX, anybody that had RetroX, the cloud saves
Oh,
you
cool.
can cloud save, and you can go from one device to another. So if I have my phone and I'm playing the game and I save a game someplace, and then I pull up my Shield and I play it, that game save is in the cloud and I can start from right there. So,
That's
and they offer a
set
lot.
that up manually before, and it's kind of a pain, like with Dropbox.
It is, yeah. And then you got to download where this does it on the fly. It does it automatically. So again, give and take what works for you. I know Franco that created RetroX. He's on the show long time ago. He's been on the show a few times. Great app. And it's a subscription-based system. But you can get all of it for free, but it takes time to set it up. If you want somebody to basically make it a plug and play for you, it's going to cost you. So either you're going to pay for time and effort and sweat to set it up, or you're going to pay somebody to pay for that app so that you don't have to do that. You decide what works for you, folks. Okay, so that's all the news for the week, all that's going on. Auto-Widget, what are we at, 1.4.5?
Yeah, that's the latest stable.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and give the floor to you, Dr. Inferno. Let's talk about what's new to the Auto-Widget, which was a few shows back.
Yeah.
He's added stuff to it, so roll with it.
Well, here's...
You're going to share your screen, and yep, all right.
Yeah, got you. Cool. So for anybody that did watch the last little video that I did to talk about this stuff, this is basically the same Kodi. I've got the same kind of setup going on. Handful of widgets. These guys up here on top are auto widgets. I've just had this sitting in the background for a bit, and I've noticed these have changed a couple of times. No, I didn't. It's okay.
Hey,
so
Dr. Inferno, for
what's up?
1 second. For people that may have not watched our previous show that when you were on, so explain what an auto widget is for someone that may not understand what an auto widget is.
Yeah, totally understandable. Yep. Okay, so basically, all these guys here are widgets, and auto widget's an add-on that lets you kind of let them change themselves out every now and then, so that you get new content showing. So I have done the little bit of a shortcut and added a thing to my power menu so that I can refresh them, just to show this off to you guys. But essentially what it does is every now and then you're going to actually see these flip out to different stuff. Like, for example, I've got my movie sets on top, and I've got recently added movies down below. But if I wanted to see something different, I can refresh this and see this is going to have my genres on the bottom and my studios on top. This particular skin doesn't have the icons showing for these guys, so they're kind of blank. But you can see, like, I still have titles up top, but now I have studios down below for my TVs. So the way it works is inside of Auto-Widget, the add-on, you get to set up these groups. So like my movies group right now has a few different things in it. These are all stuff for right now. This is all stuff that's pulled from my library, movies that are in my Kodi library. Okay, but you can do this with add-ons or whatever. So like the movie sets category, this is a link like right into my movie sets. So it'll show Frozen movies or whatever. But then when Auto-Widget goes to put a new widget on the front, it just grabs one of those paths and puts it up here. So in the past, you could do, you'd get a random one, see a random path. And what you do basically is when you go to set up your widget, you point it at this random path, and whenever it refreshes, it'll give you a new one. So the difference being, now there is something called next path as well. So for example, if I wanted to take this, I'll just change out one of the widgets that's already there. And go into the groups and get, rather than picking random path, I can just get next path instead. And so what this does is that every time it makes a new path for me, it's just going to pick the next one down the line rather than getting a random one. So this is really good for groups, I think, where you only have 2 or 3 or a couple of different paths, because then you can make sure that every single time you're going to get the same one, or you can know which one you're going to get next. Like, say you had a group that had 2 paths in it, and you just wanted to flip back and forth between them, you could use next path to do that. Because when it gets to the end, it just loops back around to the top.
Right, because if you do random, so let's say you only have 2 items in a group. Now you can add, this can be linked to add-ons, or like you said, your library, or the movie data, the TMDB helper, any of that stuff. It can be linked to it, so you can put, like, say, trending for a certain add-on. But if you had 2, what ends up happening is you have a 50-50 chance that it's going to reload the same list, because you have a 50-50 chance.
Right.
Whereas next, what the next, it's going to go to the next one down, and then once it gets to that one, it's going to go back to the top. So it's always going to change.
Exactly.
It's always going to change. So that's a good idea.
Right. So what I was going to do is I'm going to use Spotify to show the next bit.
Yeah.
Okay. So these widgets here that are Spotify are nothing. They're not auto widgets. They don't change out. Every time I boot up Kodi, it's going to be these 2 lists, okay? Which is probably fine. Those are probably the 2 lists that I would go for anyways. But just for sake of explanation, well, let me back out. So this here is the playlists list of my playlists from Spotify. In my music, my playlists. Okay, and so then each one of these is songs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what I could do is I could take playlists, and we're gonna add it to a group.
All right, so you hit the context menu.
Yeah. Let me slow down.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
I always do that.
All right. Yeah.
Okay.
So you're pulling up your context menu, and it'll pull up the Auto-Widget, which is basically linking it to his add-on.
Yeah. So anywhere where you want to do something with Auto-Widget, you're going to go to the context menu. It's like every single thing you can do with it is in the context menu. I'm putting stuff in there all the time that's just extra functionality. You open up your context menu, there'll be options in there to do stuff with Auto-Widget, basically. So it's kind of the main entry point into the add-on, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So I've pulled up my context menu on this one, and I'm going to add it to a group. And for this, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to call explode. I'm going to explode the playlist group into a widget group. Okay. And I'm going to call it playlists, because that's easy. And what that'll do is make a group out of it. Oh, that's not what I was going for. Let me just show it with a different add-on that I know will work. I don't know why I got that error. Let me do MovieDB, because I use that one all the time. So we'll do genres, because that's another really good example of this.
Genres.
Okay. So genres, in here, each one of these is its own list. You go into that list and you see all like comedy movies. Okay. So if geez, too many buttons.
Yeah. Going back to, all right.
Okay. So on genres here, context menu.
Yep.
And I'm going to add to the group. And I'm going to do explode. And I'll call it movie genres. Easy. Okay. So that's just the name of the group. And then it goes ahead and does this little loading while it does its thing. And then if we go into Auto-Widget, we'll see that there is now a movie genres group.
Yep.
And it's got an item for every single one of those genre menus that we had a second ago.
So it looked at the folder for the folder, which was genres.
Yep.
You basically created a widget that looked inside that genres folder and said, I want to create a shortcut. Shortcut's a bad word, but I'm going to create all of anything that's inside that genres. I've created a little widget so that it's added to the list. And so now you're going to add it to your skin.
Now I'm going to put it up on the skin. So I'm back to widgets, and I'm going to put it right here.
So he has to tell it to go to the AutoWidget add-on. So he went to, so he's choosing the widget. Yep.
Widget.
Yep. And
Down
it's an
into
add-on.
Yep.
It's
Program add-on.
Yep.
It's AutoWidget. You're going to go into your set of groups, and I'm going to use that movie genres widget group. And then for this one, I'll do a random path.
Right, so stop for a second. Stop for just 1 second. So when you talked about the random and the next, that's where you're able to choose between the two. Random would be that it chooses a random one inside that. The next path would do the very first one first, then the second, the third, the fourth. So this is where you choose how you want that widget to work.
Right.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right, and that's perfect. When you set up this widget the very first time is when you're going to choose this. You can always go back and set it up again. Just point it to the directory again anytime. But this is where you're going to choose for the first time. Like, I want it to be a random path every time, or I want it to be a next path every time.
Mm-hmm.
For genres, I think it actually makes sense to get a random path.
Yeah, you got a lot of choices there. So.
Exactly. Especially for groups where you've got a ton of choices, like if there's 20 items in your group or whatever.
All right. Can I ask one more question?
Yes.
Can you change, now you saw where it has the label, where it says random path. Are you allowed to change that name to say, can you call it genres, or can you not?
So yes and no. In some skins and in some places in other skins, that will mess you up.
Okay.
So
I saw your warning earlier when I was setting it up.
Yeah, so that's the thing. I have gone ahead and put a little warning the very first time that you set up a widget. It'll tell you, hey, if you change this label, it might mess things up. In this instance, I could probably change it and it would be okay. But the main thing is when AutoWidget does its work, it looks for that long string of numbers. And I know it's kind of hideous, but it actually is just scanning for those numbers to find the places where it needs to do its work.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yep.
And what you'll see, let me back out here. And I'm going to, it's to load. I'm going to initialize this, and you'll see, like, it's got that long number, and then it says initialize. But as soon as you do that, that's gone. You'll never see it again.
All right. So the first time you guys load, the first time that you set that widget, that box that you saw will always be there. But once you initialize it the first time, it populates that widget. Basically says, "Hey, widget, I want you to set it," and it sets itself up.
Yeah, and so now it's I haven't ever loaded that menu, so it's got to go find it. But
and plus it's an extensive menu too. That's not a small. I said that's an extensive menu also with so many items in genre.
Yeah, and I didn't put a limit on it, so there's probably like 100 things in here. Oh no, it wasn't that bad. The other thing that I wanted to point out, I've seen a couple of builds this week that are advertising they're using AutoWidget, and they're skins that have like these different shapes for their widgets. They've got like a poster and a landscape widget and stuff like that. So like I've seen an Auramod build and an Arctic Zephyr build and stuff that are using AutoWidget, but every single widget is a poster, and I know why. And I want to dispel the idea that you can't do that. So there's a trick when you set these up. Usually, like if I went to go set up one of these from somewhere else, if I set it up from any add-on, I can change the aspect. I can change the shape of it, poster, landscape, whatever. But if I do that with an AutoWidget, as soon as I do the little initialize, it wipes out that setting. You can actually do it, set it like this. You can set the method and how it sorts it, and there's 100 items in the list. You can do all of that. And as soon as you hit initialize, it wipes out all these settings right here, which is really a hassle. But all you have to do is go in and change it afterwards, and then they'll stick. It's because, like before, I just changed that to landscape, where before it was poster, but now I have landscapes of documentary on my screen. And you've just got to do it after the fact instead of before you initialize it. Because I've seen people making these really cool builds, but then everything is just kind of default.
Right.
And this gives you a little bit of like variety, you know. I feel like there was one other thing. Oh, there is one other thing. The other option in the menu. So you really liked this, and I'm just going to go ahead and do it with YouTube like I did. If you pull up your context menu, the reason I'm doing it with YouTube is because there's all these options in here, right? There's 15, 20 things here, okay? And I could point a widget in there, that's no problem. But I'm actually going to use it to show off clone groups. So if you add to a widget group and you clone that group. So if I wanted to, I could explode it, and it would turn every one of those 20 items into a widget. And then I get like a random section from the YouTube app, basically. Or I can make them into shortcuts. So I can clone it, and we'll just call it YouTube shortcuts. For anybody that watched my other video, this is review, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But you'll see if we go into AutoWidget, now I have a YouTube shortcuts group that has all of those items in it again. It's basically an exact clone of the one from YouTube. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And if I go to set that as a shortcut, I'll just put it right here. So I choose my widget and going through my add-ons, through my program add-ons to AutoWidget, and getting my groups, grabbing YouTube, and then I'm just going to use that as a group. I think small square would be good right now. So when this loads, if it loads, you'll see that I've got this YouTube shortcuts group, which gives me all those shortcuts, which is here or there.
Mm-hmm.
Functionally, you could use this exactly the same as just pointing a widget directly into YouTube. Okay, but the advantage here, and you can clone a whole entire directory and make it like this. You can also build shortcut groups from scratch by adding shortcuts from different places inside Kodi. But say I don't want search on here. I can pull up my context menu on search. I can edit that path and remove it.
Yep.
The shortcut, I guess. And so you'll see, now it's gone. What if I don't want history? I can do the same thing. Open my context menu, edit the path, remove the path. This is the path editor, which I also talked about last time I was on this show, and then again in the video I just did. So for anybody unfamiliar with this is basically, you can change almost every single thing about how each one of these shortcuts works,
or how it looks,
how they look, how they work, where they do, what they go, all different manner of things. And there's what you guys saw just there was the easy stuff, the stuff that you're pretty safe to mess with.
Yep. All right. So the other thing is all right. You have an option in there for when you pull up the context menu was shifting. You can shift it up or down.
Yeah. Here, I'm gonna turn this off because I don't need to talk about that. You definitely can. So say I wanted my widget in the end to look in a different order. If I wanted popular above the other one. I can shift it up. And then it's, it's the second one in the list.
Yep.
Or if I wanted popular to be the first one, I can shift it up again. You can shift up, you can shift down, you can edit, you can change the labels. If all, whoops, that was, this is my subscriptions, right? So maybe I just wanted to call it like feed, something like that. You can do that. And actually, one of the other kind of improvements in 1.4.5 is that those update pretty much in real time. So it didn't
because look, it's already feed is number 2.
Yeah, it didn't need to reload my skin for these. I made that change, went right back to it, and it's already there. And it's missing search, which I took out, and it's missing history, which I took out. These ones up here in the front are a different order. So you can use this basically to make, if you want to, you can make your own menus of any kind from any add-on, change what their content is. You could have one shortcut group that goes to like search for every add-on on your system. And it'd just be like one widget with a search icon for everything. There's other solutions for something like that, but that's one thing you could do. I'm not sure why Spotify is not working. It's kind of a weird one. I don't know what that error was. I guess it'd probably be the last error in my log. I mean, that's the stuff. I can do a little sneak peek of some of the new stuff if you want.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Oh, actually, this will probably fix that. Let me update. So currently, you guys, this is 1.4.5. I've got to scroll down quite a bit here. So this is actually, this version I'm about to use is live in my dev repo. I mentioned it before. The dev repo has a lot of the time kind of my newer stuff that I'm working on. I just want to say right now, there may be some errors and some bugs, and I may not even be able to get shown you guys exactly what's going on. Just a sneak peek, but I'm working on it. So the biggest thing that is going to be changing here pretty soon is a new menu. So where you could have gone into these, and
which are all your groups.
These are all my groups. I can edit the groups. I can edit the paths that are inside, right?
Dad, I'm gonna give like a little glass of
Okay.
water.
Okay.
Just in case it gets thirsty.
Okay. Now you have an active widgets as well. So that's what I was afraid of.
So that's what you're wanting there is only the widgets that you're using.
Yes, and so I'm actually really bummed I didn't get to show that off just there.
Well, I mean, that's you're in the process of working on that stuff, so that stuff happens.
Yeah.
I mean,
so I will have a video out about this, but basically what it is, inside that menu, it will have an entry for every widget that you have actually, set up with your skin. So any widget, when it does like the initialization, that little unpack the box step at the very beginning, is what it has done all along is it scans through all the files it needs to look through to find what those widgets are and what it needs to change them to. And so now mainly all I'm doing is tracking that and building a menu out of it. So every time it finds a new add-on, it puts an entry in this menu. It's okay. Every time it finds a new widget, when you unpack it, it puts it into this menu, and then you can go in the menu. And I'm working on another little context editor where you can change. Like for example, one of the things it'll have is where you can change from a random to a next path on the fly.
Okay.
So you don't have to go point the widget all over again if you just want to change it from being a random to a next. I'm working on also to be able to change the refresh time per widget. So the default, it refreshes them every 2 hours. But say I wanted I wanted that for all of them, but one I wanted to refresh every 30 minutes. You'll be able to do that kind of thing as well by going into the dialogue in this menu and editing them there.
Nice.
So it's all. It'll even show you one thing that I've been running into a lot with people that are testing. Is they keep getting errors because they've like gotten rid of a group where a widget was still pointed at that group. And I can catch a lot of those errors and just make it kind of tell you like, oh, you've still got a widget, but that group is gone, and not error, but it still doesn't work. So this menu also will tell you like, you've got widgets pointed at these things, but there's no group behind them, so they're orphaned. And then it'll let you remove them so that you don't have to worry about them anymore.
So you if the person deleted the group, because the widget's just pointing to the group, and if a person deleted that group, the widget's saying, "Hey, I'm looking towards that group, but that group's not there no more."
Sorta, yeah. So they will usually work. If you delete the group, the widget usually will just stay on what it is now, and it won't like error or have any problem, but it won't refresh any longer.
Okay. Because it's cached.
Well, it's not. Once you do that little unpack at the beginning, it's not technically an AutoWidget anymore. AutoWidget tracks it, and like I said, it'll put a little an entry in this menu, so it tracks it and it knows about it, but it only knows that it needs to change it sometimes. It doesn't know that it's still an AutoWidget. So the way of saying it is, once you've refreshed it, it doesn't matter if AutoWidget can see it anymore, as long as the other add-on that path is coming from is working.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get what you're saying, because it's set in the skin. The skin knows where it was looking. Like let's say if you were pointing it to Saren, popular. So you're pointing, the AutoWidget was set to Saren popular.
Yeah.
That's set. And so now if the AutoWidget, if the group has changed, let's say you had Gaia as a second option and you had Jarell as a third option. If you remove the group, it can't go to Gaia or Jarell because that group is gone, but the Saren one is already set.
Right, exactly.
The skin already is saying, I'm supposed to be looking at Saren popular or whatever you said it for. I'm looking there. So AutoWidget hasn't told it to look somewhere else, because once it looks somewhere else, basically it's telling the skin, okay, now you're looking at Gaia trending. That's where we're going to be looking. And
you know what? I think with this version, this might actually work. I'm just going to try and make this a widget group and see what happens. Because if it doesn't error, then I can do that Spotify widget I was going to do earlier. Seems to be working just fine. So I can go in my skin settings. I'm going to change the widget that I have now that shows playlists to a random one of my playlists. So I'm going to go into my groups. And all I did there was I exploded that playlists folder into this group called Spotify. I'm going to get a random path from it.
Daddy, where's Mom?
I don't know. I think she's in the bedroom. And you'll see. So this is what I was talking about earlier. I already have like the shape and the sort method and everything set here. But as soon as I unpack it, is that a better word? Is unpack better?
Yeah,
than
I understand. Yeah,
that?
I like it. Well, initializing, but initializing it to me sounds fine. I mean, because you're just telling it to start. I mean, because it doesn't. I mean, it hasn't. You haven't told the skin what to do with that yet. AutoWidget, once you initialize it, says, "Hey, this is what you're supposed to do."
So there it is. There's my first random playlist. Is voices. I don't even know what playlist this is.
I don't even know what voices is.
But you know, I'm not even going to give it the chance because it's loading and loading and loading. Oh, there it is. But if I, you know, but you can see it knocked all the special stuff out.
Huh?
So
The
back in
shape,
here, yeah, see,
the shape, the
and
the
it's
aspect.
because of what it does when it does the initialization. It like gets rid of it. But all you got to do is go back and change them again.
Yeah, because you want small
oh, I don't-
squares.
Yeah, I like small square. It looks nice.
So now it's going to change the shape.
Come here. Go tell mommy that Nate's here. Yeah, see.
So now it's not the tall rectangles.
Yeah. This one didn't really matter. I thought there might be like different art, but
Well, yeah, because it's not really even using art on that.
Yeah,
It's
well,
like
it's the album art. I guess there's not song art, whatever.
Okay.
But there you go. I just refreshed it and it gave me a different playlist. So instead of having one widget that has shortcuts to all my different playlists, I have a widget that sometimes will be a playlist I haven't listened to in ages. You know, the whole thing is just all about like surfacing new content or like content you forgot about or different stuff, you know, anything.
Well, it goes back to when you when you were on the last show, we talked about that. And we talked about that some of this was because Netflix will give you different options across your skin. And that was where you were able to you brainstormed this from that kind of idea.
I found something really cool in the Netflix add-on when I was doing this. So this is the official Netflix add-on or like sanctioned. It's legal. It's got my account and all that. So these genres, the reason I use this in my video is because it's cool. In their genres categories, like if I go into comedies, also this thing loads really fast. The Netflix add-on loads really fast as long as I'm not streaming.
Yeah, for some reason when you're sharing the screen, it does not want to go quick.
Yeah. Where are they? When I was looking at it before, they had subgenres. So it'd be like there'd be an option where you can go into subgenres and see more stuff. Okay, baby.
How come you're not talking to us?
I'll be out there in a minute. There was a button that went like down into subgenres. So you'd have like a list that would be stuff like high school comedy, stoner comedy, you know, like all the different kinds of comedies.
Okay.
I can't remember how I got to it because I thought it was in that menu, but I'm not seeing it. But it was really cool the way that they had their genre menus set up, and I was like, this is really neat because you'll totally see that kind of thing on Netflix. And I was thinking like you could explode some of those things into their own widget groups and just get like these super variety widgets that'll just give you like one of 100 things and you'll never see the same thing twice. Which was my plan. So
well, yeah, because to go back to when you created this, the idea was that so when your kids were using the TV, they would have their shows showing across, and it would like give a different list all the time. So it wasn't that they were seeing the same show and over. They would see different shows, and that was your idea. I saw that one of the guys, Blind Eye, asked about Silvo. I'll show you. Let me show you Silvo.
Yeah,
I
it
haven't
should work with Silvo just fine.
It does. I'll give you like a little this one here, just for shits and giggles. So this is a TV show one, and then I set it up. And now Silvo gives you some different options on how you want to look at it. This is if you want to do a list. So you can actually do it for lists, or you can do it like what normal widgets look like going across the line. But you can do it. It will work. I actually, when I was screwing around with it at one point, I actually like both of them as lists, and it keeps it very clean. If you don't like a lot of clutter on your screen, let me show you. I'll go to my system skin.
It's actually kind of neat.
Yeah, it just shows it a different way.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to
one. for the record, this particular skin probably would not have that thing where you have to go back and change the shape afterward.
It may not. Yeah,
Yeah.
it may not. So I'm going to back up. And so let rewrite. So if you go to movies, it should be 2 lists once it loads. Yeah. So you can see, to me, I like my backgrounds anyways. So I don't like a lot of clutter on my screen. So I can actually have 2 widgets. And if I just go up, there's that list. And you can see if I push to the right, now it takes me to the TV shows. And those are all widgets. And I push right again. And I'm back down at the bottom. So it keeps for me, it keeps the screen clean. You can see new TV shows. And I can set up my widgets this way and this is on Silvo. Certain skins will do it differently. I could set it up to where it goes across the screen. But this was just me playing around. This is me. Again, one of the people were talking about, I only can have so many widgets or so many posters. If you do extended on Silvo, it goes farther. It will continue to go farther. If you don't do extended, it doesn't go as far. So I do extended a lot of times, and that's why you see it. You see it as a longer list. So yeah, it will work on Silvo.
Yep.
And it does a great job. It just looks differently. I've got it done.
I am like actively looking for skins where it doesn't work. I mean, I've tried so hard to get it working with everything. Actually, I tried out Imbuary. There was some guys on the forum that were using Imbuary as their skin, and it's actually really nice. It works pretty well with AutoWidget. Now that I've got it kind of nailed down, that's a nice skin. Official repo too, I think.
Yeah. Now this is the one that I think that one that Blue made. She was messing around with it, and she used the Arctic Zephyr. And
that's
just playing around with it.
So notice all her things are posters.
Yep. Yeah. And I do like it now. So if you're at movies, if you push left, there's the sub menu.
That's an AZ2 thing. So
that makes it real easy. So but yeah, you can change this so they can change. And
I think she's got down there in the bottom, that far right option, I think. Oh yeah, it's the left one.
That's the force widgets.
She just didn't put an icon on it.
Yeah, didn't put an icon. When she was kind of just playing around with it. I know that.
Totally.
Let me see if it changes. Didn't look like it did. I can't remember. I might have changed because she sent it to me, and then I started messing around with it. I was like, I'm going to change this. I'm going to change that. Just because for me, I'm trying to figure out what it can do, what it can't do.
I don't know where it has been. Hey, I'll be back in a minute.
Yes, sir. All right, so I'll remove that. So hopefully Blind's Eye, that makes you can use it in Silvo. It will work. Just looks a little bit differently. Some skins have that Netflix look. I will say this, if people want to use that, there's actually a, now that I just said it, I had it in my head, there was a Netflix style skin, and it's in the Kodi repo, but it's a little bit slow. It will make it look very Netflix-ish, but it doesn't run really good. I know that Blue, in the first one that she did not run really quick. Even on the Shield, it didn't run very good. So be careful. A lot of times, folks, widgets are going to slow your device down. And I'm just being honest, because when it has to grab that metadata. Now, DrInfernoo said that if it's on his on his library, it's pretty quick, and that's because it downloads the metadata and the images, the background, the fan art. It downloads it previous, and it caches it. It stores it on your device, whatever device you're using. So it stores that information. So to display it, it's already there. Boom, boom, boom. But if you are running, let's say you're running an add-on, whatever add-on you're using is going to have to reach out to the add-on and say, what is your popular list? And then it's going to say, oh, well, I'm pulling the popular list from Tracked. And it's going to reach out, what's Tracked? What's that popular list? And it populates it. So it's saying, these are the movies for that's popular. And then it grabs all the art. And so it grabs all the art, which takes time. And that's why you see that lag at the very beginning of it. If you're a person that doesn't want to see that lag, I would say you want to, maybe shy away from that stuff. Don't change your widgets a lot. If you're a person that I just want the eye candy, I don't mind waiting 10 or 15 seconds for it to load, then you go with it. Again, it's personal taste. What works for you? What doesn't work for you? And when I first saw DrInfernoo create this, I was amazed because being a guy that did builds, this can really open the doors for a builder to really do some really cool work. As well as if you're just a regular user and you want a different list to show up every time you turn on your device, you want a different list. Or in the settings, you can tell it every 30 minutes, I want you to change. So every 30 minutes, I want them lists to change. I want this popular. And I think Blue did like studios. So it changes the studios, or it's just, there's a lot of stuff. So you figure out what works for you. There's so many options. I want to go through, I was going to show, or I didn't really want to use this skin. All right, well, I'm going to use this skin. I'm going to use this skin because that's just the one I got going on. So I was going to talk about what things that Shadow has added this week, because we've been talking about it. Every time Shadow adds some stuff, I was going to talk about it. So hold on a second. Let me make it add it. All right. So we're going to go down here to Shadow and we're going to see what has been. Oh, wait a minute. That art don't look right. Are we at 1. No, we are at a wrong version there. So hold on here a second. That's an older version, because I had a newer version that came out today. All right, let's see here. Yeah, and see, one of the reasons why I knew that is this icon. The icon looks different. So we're going to pull up information just for shits and giggles. This is at 1.4.3. And we're going to open it. A few of the things he added, he fixed the resume watching. So if you've been watching certain things, this is where you'll find it. If you're wanting to know what he has added, if you go, what's new, this is going to show you the fixes. So you can go through there and see what things he has fixed on it if you're curious about reading it. Last played link. So if I've played a link, and I don't know if I have on this is my PC. Yeah. So I haven't watched, but if you'd watched a link, it will actually open that exact link. Let's go into TV show. Series tracker. He added this a couple things back. So if I had watched, and I'm sorry, folks, I don't think I've watched anything on this computer, but if I had watched a show, it would be in there. So any shows that I've watched in Shadow would be in the series tracker. So you don't actually have to have tracked. It will keep track of what you've watched through this add-on, which is something that no other add-ons. Some add-ons do it if you use tracked. It will keep track of what you watched, but even without track turned on, this will keep track of what you've been watching through the particular add-on. Let's go into I'm going to the movie world, and I'm gonna pull up the context. Oh wait, no, let's go in here first. Let's go into I gotta go to a movie. Now it's populating what's there. And I was one of the complaints I had with so many people making requests, because AA has been adding so much stuff to this. My concern was that it was going to get slower. It has yet to get slower. So props to him for his coding that nothing has gotten slower, because that was my concern. So I'm going to pull up the context menu, which the request has been out the ass for stuff that people want in the context menu, and he's done just about everything that's in there. So we can play a trailer. You can go right into the Shadow settings from here. Queue an item. So let's say I want to do a little binge watching, and I want to watch Fantasy Island, then I want to watch Bad Boys, then I want to watch Trolls. I can queue this, then go here, queue this, then go here, then cue this, and I want to say there was a play. Oh, then play. I can play, and so it'll start playing it. Now, since I've cued it, it would probably play Trolls twice. So what I probably should do is, if I wanted to, go here and hit play, and it would play Star Wars first, then it would play Trolls, then it would play Bad Boys, then it would play Fantasy Island. So that's a queue feature. So you can queue up items so you could watch numerous things in a row. Tracked Manager, if you're a person that has tracked, you can pull that up. See, I don't have tracked. I apologize. I thought I had tracked on this. I've got my shield, 2 setups on my shield, 3 setups on here, so I don't have track set up on here. You can pull up your Track Manager, add, subtract items from your item from tracked. So that was on there. Some people wanted open info. To be honest, I think I don't have open info on this portable, but that was asked for. Series, which this doesn't work for movies. Yeah, it doesn't work for movies. So let me back up and go to no, not that. Yeah, let me hit escape, not back. So I go here, go to TV World, episode people are watching. Let that populate. I could stop it, but I'm just going to keep the art. So I'm going to hit this. Where's it in here? Maybe I have to go in more. Do I got to go in one more? Maybe I got to go in another. Do I got to go in even farther? There it goes. All right. So say I was watching episode 2 and I'm like, you know what? I forgot. I need to go back to episode or to season, another series. I can actually do the browse series. So I can back up and I can go back to the series where I can be able to watch it. So that was one of the things he added to that. Clear cache, which people ask for. Information, which is basically your information to gives you extended info. Here's your basic information about the thing. If I had extended info or one of those plugins, it would show me more, but since I don't. Super favorites, track list. You can add it to track list. And one of the things that I know that he added, and this was a couple ways back for you, he added the Auto-Widget was in here.
Yeah.
He added that. I guess that was last week.
Yeah, something like that. I think just after I was on with you guys last time was when I figured out it wasn't showing.
Yep. So if I wanted to add this as an auto widget, that was added to the context menu. So he's added numerous things to the context menu. Yeah, I was looking through this browser.
Really, it's all those other add-ons that are adding stuff, and he's just made it so that they can add stuff. All the things that are italic, like play trailer and clear cache, I think that's all the stuff that he's adding.
Okay.
I think. I don't know what.
Well, he added. I know he added this one.
Yeah. Well, I added.
Oh, okay. You added that one.
He just had to. I don't know what he was doing, but it was keeping it from showing up somehow.
Okay. All right. Well, so those are some of the things. It's still running. It's still running quick for people that have been using it. Let me try to pull up a.
Yeah, it's fast.
Let me see. I won't play a movie. Let's just. I have it set at 10 seconds. Now I thought movies I had it request. All right, so I must have an autoplay.
Yep.
I have an autoplay. So you can set it on. You can set that to be autoplay or actually show. Oh, that was another thing. Hold on a second. Let me change one thing. I have autoplay on. Yeah. See, I have one click. So that means it's autoplay. So I'm going to turn off autoplay for my movies. And then let me do a search for Fantasy Island again. And it should be pretty quick because it's already cached the results. He added the. Well, let me try another. Let me try another movie that has not cached.
I think I'm gonna split for the night, man.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for coming on, Dr. Inferno.
Yeah. Hey, thank you for having me. I'm sure I'll be on again at some point.
Yeah.
Anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out to me or anything. I'm always around.
Yeah, definitely. And thanks for your work, and thanks for continuing to stay on top of this and keep adding stuff to your work.
Yeah,
So
man. It's what I'm doing.
Auto-Widget's cool. And I know that you helped to make sure that TMDB Helper had the plugin or the player for
Yeah.
There was some people
Well,
wanted that player for it.
somebody else figured it out.
Okay.
I'll give him the credit for that one, but it works, so it's all good.
Yep. People are happy.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Talk to
bud.
you guys later.
Stay safe.
Yeah, you too. Bye.
One of the things, folks, I didn't do was hit OK when I set the settings for that movie. So that was what I didn't do. Oops. What the heck are you doing? Get down. All right. So let's try My Spy. Now we should see results. Okay, yeah, we will. You see how we see the results here? He added a bunch of information for the results. So now you're able to see more information about the results. Before it gave the size, gave the name, and I think it gave the 1080 part. People wanted more information. They wanted to know, is it a 5.1? Is it 7.1? Is it whatever. So he did add some extra information on the sources. So if you have one click turned off, you will see that. If it is turned on, you will not see that because it's a one-click play. It's automatically picking the link for you. And if you make any changes in here, as you just saw, if you make any changes in here, be sure to hit OK. One of the things I didn't show and the other one, so if you're using Real-Debrid, it's for here. If you have All-Debrid, you use that one. And if you use Premiumize, you use that. You cannot use all three. You have to choose which one of the three that you want to use. All right. All right. Let me remove. All right. So, all right. So I'll try to catch up with whatever questions that people had. This could be one of my shorter shows. Look, we're at 90 minutes. Auburn says that AutoWidget has so many things that's going on, and if you're a person that wants to mess around with that kind of stuff, you have so many options. Your family will probably hate you if you constantly keep changing it. So Shinobi says that he just finished an AutoWidget using Silva. It works great. Yep. And it is. It's like if you've ever used Super Favorites, it is a Super Favorites on steroids. It has so many other options. Lizette, thanks for jumping in. Jizz Planet, what's up? Aurora Mod, yep, the Aurora Mod. I want to say Aurora Mod when Blue used that, it was a bit slow. So FYI, if you use a lot of widgets, it gets a little slow when we've messed with it. It's up to you if you want to use it. DrInfernoo does not have a build. He's not a builder. He doesn't create builds. That was his own personal. That was actually just his test build that he has on his PC, just for shits and giggles. That's what he does, just to show people and to test. He has his own build that's for just at his home. Blue made a build. I put it on my wizard. If anybody that follows me can look up debutcher.org. You can download my repo. You can get my wizard. She created a small build that with using the one that I showed, not the Silva one, but the other one, using the auto widgets, so they can kind of, if people want to download something, get a base idea, you're able to do that. Yeah, Mucky, he was talking about his add-on. Yeah. Okay, what Shadow? Shadow is an add-on, a video add-on, like your Sarah and your Gaia, your Exodus, your crew. It's an add-on itself, and I showed that. If you go back, I've normally, after the show's over, I try to post information. That add-on is not in an official repo. The developer of that add-on puts it out there and lets anybody that wants to share that on the repo to do so. If I'm not mistaken, I know the crew and I know Diamond Repo are the two places that put it on their repo. You can join the Telegram group and get the zip file because that's where he posts it. And the guys that put it on the repo get it from there, and they put it on their repo. So I will post a link to the Shadows Telegram group. If you go back to some of my previous shows, I already have that link in there. So it'll take a day or so before sometimes I edit the show notes below. And again, show notes are when you look at this video and you look at show more, that's the show notes. And that's where I put links and stuff. Let's see. Lizette, what's the latest best thing for Fire Sticks? Less is more, Lizette. Less is more. Don't try to get some big humongous build. Don't try to put every single add-on on there. If you have a 4K stick, they are pretty good. If you have an early Fire Stick, they tend to be more crappy. So if you have a 4K stick, you can pretty much use about anything. I would go less is more on that. And what I mean by that is to use smaller builds, less add-ons work better. The more crap you pile on it, the slower they tend to run. And that has been my advice for a long time, is to keep from having tons and tons of add-ons on there, folks. Stop having, people think, oh, I need to have, 30 of the best video add-ons. No, you don't, because you're going to use one or two. And that's where you're going to stick. You're going to stick to one or two, maybe three if you're using some type of live stuff. And that's where you're going to stop. So don't think you got to have every single new add-on out there. Most add-ons are just clones or copies of somebody else's stuff. There are some newer stuff that does come out. So less is more. Stick with a very just few items. Didn't know this Spotify add-on. And now I tried to install the Spotify add-on today, right before the show. I had issues. It kept failing. So I'm not sure exactly what dependency I could not get from the repos. So I'll have to get back with you guys on the Spotify. And one of the things DrInfernoo said before the show is that if you install the APK, the official app on your Android device, the Spotify on that works better than the Spotify in Kodi. So if you have a Spotify account, just get the official, most likely it's going to be a free version. Get the official version from the Google Play Store and install it and run that. Don't I think because Kodi is just one more element to be running. It's another process running. Keep less processes, the better for me. Redneck Shadow's a great add-on. Yep. Yeah, Lizette, you don't follow me enough. Yes, it's in Kodi. You don't follow me because I tried talking about that over the last 4 shows, I guess. I tried to show what he's created new, and there is no add-on faster right now. And it's a Debrid only. You must have premiumized Auto-Debrid, Real-Debrid. You cannot. It doesn't have free links, so that's a downside. You guys decide if that's important to you. It does not support free links. So if you're a free link user and you don't have Debrids, that add-on will not work for you. You need Debrid, and if you have Debrid, you will find 6 seconds that it's scraping, maybe 10 seconds if 1 or 2 scrapers are hanging. So 10 seconds, and then it starts resolving the links, and I'm watching within 15 seconds. I mean, it is what it is there. People decide. Okay, that video talks all about Shadow and the best add-ons for it. Correct. Lizette, I've talked about Shadow. I want to say off the top of my head, the last 3 or 4 episodes. My shows, the Stream and Matter shows, which are on Fridays, you can go back and look. I showed it in several times, and I even had the developer on one time. He came on and talked for a little bit. If you have the crew add-on, or if you have the diamond build repo, those will have the Shadow add-on. If not, look in the show notes and you will see a Telegram link, a hot link. You click that URL, it'll take you to Telegram. You have to sign up for Telegram, which is a free thing to sign up for. You sign up for it, and you can get the the zip file that way, and it's pretty good. But the crew or Diamond Repo, those are two. There's other repos that have them, but I can't quote which ones those are because I don't use them. So maybe some people can hit me up. Any of the people that are in the shadow group, hit me up with what other repos have it, because I have no idea. Because I don't install too many repos. I plug around. So I'm rolling down trying to catch up with you guys. And JJ, thank you for posting. He has posted numerous links to different things. I see he posted the Telegram group for Shadow. He's posted numerous things for that. So thank you. Thank you. Hey, Troop, what's up, bud? Thanks for the support. Again, regular people that follow my show on a regular basis, I thank you guys tremendously for the things you guys do. Oh, Blue sent me a message on the PS4. One of the other games, when we talked about this earlier in the show, Journey is one of the other games that's free. So what's going on with the temp repo? I don't know. What's a good IPTV add-ons for Kodi? IPTV. All right, so free IPTV is because if I quote and say this is a good IPTV, they'll probably be crap when you go to try to watch a certain channel. Free IPTV is okay at best. And I mean okay. It's not good. It's okay at best. And at worst, it's unusable. It's just not working. So you really, if you're going to go with an IPTV service, I would suggest go with an IPTV service. If people message me on Telegram, I'll give you a couple suggestions of places where you can look and check them out. You decide if you want to sign up for them services. I'm not involved in those services, but I can point you in a couple of directions and you decide if you want to sign up. I try not to promote because I'm not here to sell you I'm not here to sell you a service. I'm not giving you affiliate links. That's not what my job is. I'm here to just try to teach you what I can teach you, and we'll see what happens. I'm not here to profit off of it because, to be honest, YouTube pays me almost nothing per video, which is fine. I mean, I don't care. They demonetize almost all my videos, or they give me very limited, which is fine. Lizette says Area 51 is a good service to have. I know of Area 51. I know some of the guys that ran Area 51. It used to be a pretty good service. So that may be something for people to check out. I know there's a couple websites that you can actually, where there are forums where people post about their experience with certain IPTV services. I don't use those forums, but I know some of my coworkers use those, and it'll talk about try this service, that service. I will say this, folks. An IPTV service that is highly promoted, highly talked about on a lot of places, on a lot of social media, those are IPTV services that are probably not going to last because they're too easily found. The IPTV service that's going to last is one that you've never heard of. It's just the way it is. You're better to not be hearing about it. Those are the services that are going to be the one that's going to last longer for you folks. So, there's, like I said, there's numerous IPTV services. Some are clones of others. I know that Nitro, there was some talk about Nitro being shut down. I don't know. I don't run with that circle. Don't know what's going on with those guys. Nobody that I'm involved with. So we'll see. But I heard through Torrent Freak that they're being shut down or being sued. And if they're being sued, they're going to be shut down. If they're being sued, they will be shut down. Maybe they're not shut down at the moment, but if you're being sued, you will be shut down. I mean, it's just what it is. Stay very, very quiet, Wabbit. All right. Yeah, you got to stay quiet about that. All right. EPG services. Okay. So EPG services, which is basically your TV guide. I would highly suggest people to take a look and do some research. And if you join my Streaming Matters Telegram group, I would suggest Renegade TV. Renegade has been around a long time. I've known Renegade for a long time. I'm talking 4 to 5 years off the top of my head is what I'm going to think he's been around. Creating TV guides. So if I was going to need a TV guide, and if I wanted, which is an EPG, if I wanted an EPG, and that's what I felt like I needed to have an EPG, I would lean towards talking to them and talking to him and seeing about their EPG. That would, because they've been around so long, they know what the downfalls and what things work and what don't work. So if you join my streaming matters Telegram group, I'll post that link right after the show's over. I'll post it in there and you can join in there. And there's almost 500 people in there now. We have people from all over the gambit of this. There's a cross section of a lot of groups in there. So if there's a question you're asking, you probably, if you ask the question, someone can most likely answer it pretty soon. If you ask in the middle of the night, it's middle of the night. Maybe you don't get an answer. Ask it. Don't ask it every 30 minutes, but you can ask, ask if no one answers it in 4, 5, or 6 hours, ask it again, because maybe as the chat rolls up, people weren't able to answer it, and there's more chat than when people jump in. So, let's see. No YouTube stimulus checks. No, Redneck. I have honestly, I think it's been 2 years since I got a check from YouTube. Been about 2 years. And my check was $100 because you can't get a check until it's $100. And I hadn't even looked at my AdSense to see where I'm at because they limit me so much. So it's like, whatever. APKs. Okay, Lizette, you must be new to the show. Thank you for coming on, or thank you for joining the show. Okay. I'm not a fan of Zion TV, but that's me. A lot of people like Zion TV. BTV, BEE-TV, has been around a while. Very popular. What I would suggest, and hold on a second. I'll tell you what I'll do. Hold on, folks. Let me take a look here. I'm going to go to Kodi Apps. And this is a great way, and I actually talked to Charles about this. And anybody that has followed me for a long, Kodi Apps has been on my show a few times. Awesome website. I don't care if you like it or not. I like the guy. He's not doing shady shit. He's a good guy. He's trying to give people information. All right, so KodiApps.com, I guess. Let me look. KodiApps.com. KodiApps.com. So if you go to KodiApps.com and you go to their APK chart, or you can go into their APK, you actually can download an application onto your Fire Stick called APK Time. The benefits of APK Time is that it will give you a list of APKs to be able to install directly from that APK. So you don't have to learn all that this APK is on this URL and this one's on this URL and oh, they moved it to here. The benefit is that you use the one APK and he links it to those other places. Right now, and I wasn't going to share my screen anymore. I done close that. Let me share my screen for a second. Lizard. Okay, so we're going to bam. And Lizette, I'm going to go ahead and narrow you down. All right, APK Time. So hopefully you guys are seeing this because I don't have a, yeah, all right. So this is their website. This is Kodi App, but this is actually the APK Time section of Kodi Apps. So if I go to, I'm going to go to home and here we go. This is the APK section of this. Right here is the information on how to download it. And go to the website, get the information on how to download it. This is what's trending. Now, if you're looking at this, you're like, oh, this has got to be the best one. This is the second best one. This is the third best one. Not necessarily. If something is new, it will move up the list kind of quickly because it's what's trending. So that doesn't necessarily mean it's the best. It's what's trending right now. What's trending this week. You can see right now, 21% of the people click on cat mouse. And I'll actually say that APK works pretty decently. Right now, 16%, almost 17% of the people click on TTV. Now, maybe they clicked on TTV because they wanted to figure out how to install it, or they wanted to figure out information. So he lists it in here. So I'm going to go to TTV. He has some information about it. How much does it cost? Blah, blah, blah. Here's some screenshots of it that he has. So you're able to see some screenshots. He posts here if you wanted to install. It's got here's the official website. Here's alternate places to get the APK. But if I was a person that had a Fire Stick, you want to keep it as simple as possible. I would install the APK time. I would install APK time APK. And you'll see that there's an interface where you're able to get what's trending, what's new, what's updated. Right now, I would say these three are the cat mouse, TTV, BTV have been around a while. Cinema has been around for a while, but I can't say that there's something that tells me I don't remember. I don't like that one. Can't tell you what. Not the best of memory. There was something about Cinema I didn't like when I had messed with it a long time ago. This is Typhoon TV, which worked very well. I used to use FreeFlix, but it started to having issues. I quit using FreeFlix. So my suggestion would be Cat Mouse, TTV, BTV, Typhoon would be the 4 if I had to choose out of that. Free APKs, and you can get this from the Google Play Store. Pluto TV is great. If you want to have and this is completely legitimate through the Google Play Store, very good. You can see your Zion TV. And if you go on this on your website, you'll actually click it and you can see what people's thoughts and stuff and all that is. Again, you got all kinds in here. All right, I'm going to stop sharing. Stop sharing. Good grief. That's my name. Don't wear it out. Yeah. I'm not new. It's been a while since I've watched. Yeah. And the thing about, and not being sarcastic, but the jailbroken Fire Sticks that people buy and they're like, Kodi sucks. Most times that they've installed an old build or an old build is on it and it's outdated. It's crap. It's shit. It's no more. The add-ons that were on it don't work no more. And they're like, this Fire Stick doesn't work. Kodi is an ever-evolving third-party app. It's always evolving. And if you don't stay evolving with it, you get left behind in the things that you were using prior don't work no more. So it's a hobby that you have to stay informed with. If you're thinking about, I want plug and play, a couple APKs, and you can cross your fingers that those APKs stay up. They're less maintenance. If they have an update, they'll say it. But that's not to say that those APKs won't be shut down. We saw that with Terrarium TV. If anybody remember Terrarium TV, everybody thought that was the bee's knees. Guess what? It's gone. So APKs tend to be less maintenance, easier to work with, but they can go away. All right. Kyle here has some free. Now, these are free ones that Kyle posted. Yes, Pluto TV, Tubi. I've not used Tubi very many times. Crackle. Another one is a Xumo. XUMO. Xumo is another free app. Google Play Store. You can get it through there. It's completely legit. They will have a lot of stuff. Now, they're not going to have the movies and TV that Kodi has, but they will have a lot of older shows. They'll have a lot of content, and it's completely legit. You will have commercials, as Redneck says. No ads in Kodi. A major plus. If you use any free service, you will have ads. If you use an APK, you will have ads unless you're using a modified hacked version of that APK. Downside of that is they break. As soon as the developer creates a fix or an update, the hacked version breaks. So if you're not somebody that's going to stay on the know, you want to stick with the legit or the official versions. You will see commercials. You'll see the damn ads. I was using some the other day, and I had to sit through. I was showing Charles how to use. I I can't remember if it was BTV or TTV. It was one of those. And I'm showing him. I'm like, this is easy. And I had to sit through it like a 20-second ad for a game. Oh, excuse me. I need another beer. See, I stopped drinking beer. I need more beer to keep me going. You have to sit through an ad, and you decide if that's important to you. Last time I watched your show was when Area 51 was being almost shut down. And the guys that were working there, the one thing they have gotten, those guys have gone more underground, so you don't hear about them so much. Aldrin, what you got going on? There's actually a modified version of Tubi TV that's been working well for over a year now. Oldest but good. I've not known that, Aldrin. Let me get that. I'll get that straight. I'm trying to get it right. I didn't know there was a modified version of Tubi TV. I wonder where that's at. Blindside says Nova TV is a decent APK. When it first came out, it was real popular, and then there was some issues. People had some problems with it, weren't happy with it. So that's what we got for APKs. Lizette, I hope I've answered all your questions. Thank you. Hey, I actually enjoy having some questions because a lot of times I've got a lot of regular viewers, a lot of the normal people, and I love having the people I trust or can have faith they're going to watch my show every week. It's always good to have some new people that will ask a question that maybe there's some new people watching that wouldn't ask a question. So I'm going to give a few more seconds before I roll out of here because, shit, here I am at 2 hours again. I was going to try to be under 2 hours. Folks, Wednesday night, POP, Play or Pass, will be our first official episode will be airing. 5 p.m. Eastern. That's 2 p.m. West Coast US. That is 10 p.m. if you're in the old UK. We're going to discuss and review 2 movies, Jojo Rabbit and Higher Learning. And right now I have a panel of 4. There will be a panel of 4, but we also have 2 slots. So if you are a viewer, and you're watching the show, I will post a link to this StreamYard link right here, this thing. And I will invite anybody that wants to come on the show to talk about those particular movies. That's Jojo Rabbit and Higher Learning. We're going to talk about those 2 movies in depth. We're going to talk about what our opinion is of those movies. But I highly encourage you, if you are a movie buff and you like those movies or you hated those movies, I don't care whichever one, click the link, join the show, talk about it. You don't have to stay for the whole show. You can jump in when we're talking about that particular movie and talk about it. Say, I hated it. It sucked. This is why, blah, blah, blah. And then jump off. Because we can have 6 people on here. And I would love to have interaction with some of the, yes, Higher Learning's with the Lawrence Fishburne movie. Yes, 1995. And we'll be able to have some of those people pop in and talk about what they thought and this and that. Because I can have people on deck, which means they're backstage, and then I can pop them onto the screen where everyone's able to see them. And then when they're done, I can pop them back to backstage, and I can do back and forth with it. So as long as I have 6 people, maximum of 6 people live. Okay, so watch for those 2 movies. I've already watched Higher Learning. I've got half of my homework done. And actually, I've already watched Jojo Rabbit one time, but I got to watch it a second time to take notes on it. Yeah. And if anybody that watched last Wednesday, so we have a panel of 4 that are our staple people. And each week, one panel member can request us to watch a movie for the following week. Claire said or requested Higher Learning. So that was Claire's choice. So that's why we have to talk about it. Next Wednesday, Andrew gets to pick what movie we have to watch the following week. And then we'll also watch a current movie. Jojo Rabbit is our current movie. So, yeah, I watched Higher Learning today. I actually got my notes right here where I was watching it. So I'm able to discuss it. And we'll see how that. Yeah, Ice Cube is in that movie too. It has a lot of big actors and actresses in that movie. I did not realize some of the actors and actresses that was in that movie. There was a lot. I really would like to have. I'd really like to have some people. I'd really like to have like Charles or somebody else that would maybe have a different perspective on that movie. Because being a white guy, and I know Blue's white, Andrew's white, Claire's white, I'd like to have a little bit of a different feel from some other people of what someone of a different race that thinks about that movie. And maybe I'll hit up Charles. Maybe I can get him to jump in here and give his thoughts on that movie. So we'll see. But that's what we got going on, folks. And so I will have my regular shows on Friday, which is going to be about streaming, whatever we talk about with streaming. And then on Wednesdays at 5 o'clock, we will talk about movies. And we'll also, during that show, we'll talk about movies that will not hit our radar. And I'll off the top of my head, The Hunt. We talked a little bit about that. We'll talk about those movies that we would not necessarily review, that are not at the top echelon of movies review, but maybe some of the movies we've watched that fall below it because we're only doing one a week. Yes, Tyra Banks is in Higher Learning, and damn, I was checking out Tyra. I was like, whew. And yes, Lizette, that's what I was thinking, an African-American perspective. Charles is African-American, and I know that he's not scared to give his opinion. And he's also, Charles is 62 years old too, or 61, 62. Here I'm 52. I know Blue is younger than me. Andrew is younger than me. Claire is younger than me. Again, trying to get the different perspectives from different ages as well as from different cultures, I think would be a really good idea. So I think Claire, that was Claire's choice. That movie was Claire's choice. So I think it's kind of a neat idea. I had never seen it. So it's good. What we wanted in that show in the player pass was we wanted to have different perspectives of the same movies to see if it's worth for you to watch and what you thought, because we all have different tastes. You don't want something that everybody always agrees. I want people that have different opinions, but I also want someone to be able to articulate why they don't like something. If you don't like a movie, I'll use Adam Sandler movie. Blue, where are you at? Where are you at when I need you? Blue, what's that movie with Adam Sandler that was just came out? Adam Sandler movie. Hold on a second. Because I'll use an example. All right, so Adam Sandler, he had that new movie, and it's 2 words. Uncut Gems. Okay, sorry, folks. Yes, Uncut Gems. Thanks, you guys, because there's a 15-second delay between me talking and it actually showing up. Uncut Gems. Yes. All right. In my opinion, Uncut Gems, Adam Sandler's acting in that was great. Great acting, I thought. I actually hated his guts in that movie. Hated him. He was not his normal person. He was not his normal character. He was not his normal role. I hated him. The writing was good for the particular movie. The directing and the sound and some of what the way they chopped some shit together in that movie sucked ass. So the thing is there were certain aspects of that movie I could say were good, but then certain aspects sucked. And so when we were looking for people to be on the panel, we wanted people that could say, this is what I liked about this. This is what I didn't like about this. The directing was good. The special effects was good. The screenplay was good. Hey, this is bad. And that was the whole idea. It was just to have something where we can, to have someone that can articulate. And then you decide which one. And I want people to watch the things before they watch the show so that you're able to chime in on the side, even though you're a 15-second delay. And hopefully some of you guys will be brave enough to come on the show. You don't have to show your face. I tweeted a thing where you can go into StreamYard and how to do it. It's It's simple. You don't even have to sign up if you don't want to. You can set it up and you can sign in as long as you have a microphone. That's all that matters. Come in, talk, and say, hey, I liked it, this and this and this and this. And you don't have to stay for the whole thing. So I want to hear different people's opinion. I want that feedback from everybody. So that was our hopes for the show when Blue and I first started talking about this weeks and weeks ago. And that's what we're hoping to have. So that would be Wednesday at 5 p.m. East Coast time. So I don't see any other things. Lizette, thanks for jumping in and joining the show, asking questions. I love it. Yes, Skull, I've talked about RapidGator earlier. Yes, it does suck. It does suck that they're not, but what is what it is. I mean, what can you do? So again, thanks for you guys watching. Thanks for DrInfernoo for jumping in on my show, talking about his add-on and the things that he's added to it. Thanks for him, all the work he's doing in that, be it if it works for you or doesn't. Well, I don't want to say doesn't work, but it's not something that you would use, or if it is something to use, if you're a builder, you could really see the benefits of this. All right, so Blue says if you haven't seen it, don't watch the show, but go to the end and you'll see our votes and decide for yourself. Yes, we are going to vote at the end of when we talk about a movie. Is it a play or is it a pass on the thing? So, and we will give spoilers. So just heads up. Don't get your feelings hurt if we damn ruin the movie for you, because you've been warned. It's funny because we showed a thing, and I said, when we get ready to talk about a show or a movie, when we get ready to talk about a movie, I'm gonna have this running. I'm gonna have this scrolling across it so that someone can't say, Dabs, you didn't tell us that you're gonna tell us about the movie. What way to go. So yeah, all good. Hey, thanks for you guys watching. Look for me next Friday. But please watch us on Wednesday. Share, like, subscribe, all that bullshit that people say. And let's see what y'all think about Jojo Rabbit and higher learning. I would love to hear some different people's perspectives. Get your guts up. Get brave to be able to come on the live panel, and you don't have to show your face. You don't need a camera. You just need a microphone to talk, and that's all we need to have. You can come on, talk for a minute, give your opinions, and you can always back out. It's be great. So, hey, love y'all. Thanks for watching. Streaming matters to us because streaming matters to you, and we'll see you Wednesday, 5 p.m.